Noswaith dda, yes, the boys are back for another episode of the NFL Cymru podcast. Guto, noswaith dda, I think this is the first time we've had a chat since your football weekend down in Cardiff. Tell us how did it go over the weekend?
Good. Went down to Cardiff, watched Wales versus Azerbaijan. Very good. Wales won 3-1. It wasn't the most brilliant of games, don't get me wrong, but it's a good result nonetheless. And obviously, Cardiff, a night out in Cardiff is always a good night out. So, yeah, a bit of a heavy Saturday night for me, bit of a rough time travelling home, but we made it. So, yeah, very good weekend indeed. How about you, David? How was your weekend?
Yeah, mine was good. I was commentating, like I said, on a rugby game on Saturday. So I was listening to, so I listened to the women's game on the way back, and I literally got back just before the football started. So it was pretty much perfect. I had a really, really heavy sporting weekend, and then Sunday I travelled up to North Wales. As you can probably see, yes, we're in another hotel room, so I'm on the road. Gitto's not on the road this week. I'm on the road this week, but I'll be back home on Friday. However, we had to jump on the pod, Gitto, because yesterday, well, kind of out of the blue, really, we had kind of a down period during free agency, and then out of the blue, we had two kind of quite shocking bits of breaking news that broke yesterday afternoon. To be honest with you, we'll get on to both, but I don't really understand neither move, to be honest with you. One of them that we're going to talk about first is obviously Russell Wilson has signed a 1-year deal with the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally, I don't understand this move. If I was a Giants fan, I don't really know where this leaves you as a franchise. I know that it's only a 1-year deal. Does this mean that the Giants potentially might skip on a quarterback because they've got the number 3 seed in the number 3 pick in the draft? I think if Cam Ward is still there, he's the top quarterback. I think they'd be foolish to skip on just because they've got Russell Wilson for a 1-year contract. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a 1-year, 10 million deal with the Giants. Completely took me by surprise when I woke up this morning to that news. The first thing I thought of was, what's the long-term plan here for the Giants? They finished the season last season at 3-14. Don't get me wrong, it's an upgrade from Daniel Jones. Anyone is an upgrade from Daniel Jones, but is it an upgrade in terms of longevity? No, I don't think so. They've signed Jameis Winston as well, as that's the second quarterback of the week that they've signed. Obviously, it looks like Russell Wilson will be their starting quarterback. He's 36 years of age. He will be decreasing, unfortunately, but I don't get the idea. They're number 3 in the draft. There's plenty of quarterbacks in the draft they could have been looking at. They had Cam Ward, Shadir Sanders, Jackson Dart, etc. But they decided to go with Russell Wilson. A bit of a shocker, and it kind of changes the landscape of one or two teams in terms of the quarterback position.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I don't really know where this kind of leaves the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I always thought that Russell Wilson was kind of their backup plan, especially if. So it's now, if you're a Steelers fan, it's kind of Aaron Rodgers or bust, really, unless they've got something else up their sleeve. I can't imagine the Steelers drafting up moving up in the draft rather, and throwing away, probably they're going to have to trade maybe 2 1s in order to get into a position to get a quarterback in the draft. I don't think they're that kind of franchise that do those kind of drastic moves, really. So I think they've re-signed Mason Rudolph. I know Aaron Rodgers is really going to take his time. He's in no rush to make any decision. Does this mean that he's floating with retirement? I'm not quite sure, but yeah, Russ is kind of like, he's really bouncing around the league over these last 3 years, and now all of a sudden within the space of one off season, we've had two former Steelers quarterback, and both now are in New York. Obviously, Justin Fields is with the Jets, and now Russ with the Giants. If things go south with the Giants, Gito, I don't really know where Russell Wilson's future lies, especially as a starter in the NFL. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to get any worse for the Giants unless it's bad enough as it is down there. So, but as you quickly about the draft, I did have like a little think, or maybe if the Pittsburgh Steelers will be, trading to go up the draft. But I can't see anyone in the top 10 wanting to trade that position in the state that the teams are in at the moment. So I just don't see that happening. They've signed Mason Rudolph, so yeah, like you said, it could be Aaron Rodgers or bust. It's a interesting situation to be in. If I was a Steelers fan, I wouldn't want. I think they're dreading Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I don't know if it's just me or not. He might be bringing a bit of a negative energy to the team, considering his last few seasons and the way he's acting and everything. But there's no one really else on the market unless they trade up for a big quarterback. So, but with Russell Wilson, he's 36 years of age. He's a Super Bowl winner. Don't get me wrong. But the last few seasons, he has been jumping from one place to another. I won't be surprised if he finishes his career at the Giants. But it's a 1-year contract, and so. But I just don't understand. If I'm a Giants fan, I'm not happy with it. I wouldn't be happy with it at all. Like I said, there's plenty of good quarterbacks in the draft that they could have gone for. Especially since they're number 3 in the draft. They signed Jameis Winston, like I mentioned, so he was obviously going to be their second quarterback. They've still got Tommy DeVito in their quarterback room as well. But yeah, Russell Wilson, like I said, if I was a Giants fan, I wouldn't be too happy with that at all. And it leaves the Steelers with a couple of unhappy and nervous fans as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Steelers are kind of left in limbo at the moment, aren't they? And they're kind of, it's just they've. If you're a Steelers fan, you'd be kind of worried that you put all your eggs in one basket, and that is Aaron Rodgers' basket right there. So it's kind of, if he turns around and because he's so unpredictable, isn't he, as a personality, as a character, and if he says, "Oh, do you know what? I'm just going to retire," I don't see that happening, because ultimately, I think we've already mentioned on the pod before that the Steelers are in really good shape. They'll always have a solid defense, especially with Mike Tomlin there. We've already said about their incredible record of Tomlin never having a losing record with Pittsburgh in over 10 seasons. You've just given DK Metcalf a massive deal. You've got George Pickens on a rookie deal on the other side as well, and you've got a decent offensive line as well. So the only thing that Pittsburgh potentially don't have is a decent running game that could potentially take some strain off Aaron Rodgers. Then if you're a Giants fan, switching over to the Giants just quickly, Guitar, you have to kind of question, what is the direction of the franchise? What are they really going for here? Are they because Dable has been there now for maybe 3 or 4 seasons. They've got, I have to reiterate this, they've got probably one of the most exciting young wide receivers in Malik Neighbors to come out of the draft for a couple of seasons. I'm just worried that I really don't want to see them wasting his talent and just wasting years. That happened last year, although he said he had a magnificent rookie season. He had way over 1,000 yards, and he was an absolute stud. You would question, maybe he could have some better service with Russell Wilson there, how dependable that's going to be, or are they literally going to fool everyone and they potentially are going to take maybe a Shadur Sanders? Because, again, I can't really trust either Tennessee or Cleveland not to take Cam Ward with the top 2 pick. I really don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, it's obviously worth noting, Gitor, that we're now officially less than a month away from the NFL draft, a month to yesterday actually. So we're going to be ramping up a little bit more about the draft news closer to the time. And as the top candidates emerge, I've been seeing a lot of really exciting videos of Cam Ward on his pro day in Miami and things like that. And yeah, he looks like he is the real deal, I have to say. Things have kind of quietened down about Shadir Sanders a little bit. Whether the Giants are kind of an outsider potentially to take him at 3. I think 3 is a little bit too high for Sanders myself. But with a draft, as you probably know, anything can happen.
Exactly. Yeah, anything can happen. We can have some shock. We can have some, some typical choices here and there. So, but yeah, it's difficult to see. Even with Russell Wilson joining the Giants, is that going to push them into a playoff team? I don't think so. I think they're still so far away from that. They've got a lot to improve. Obviously, they've got Malik Neighbours. Like I said, he's a very exciting wide receiver. I'm looking at their running backs. They've got Tyrone Chase Jr. They've got Devin Singletary. He's been there for a couple of seasons as well. So, it was looking like they'd be building like a young team. Obviously, bringing a new quarterback in, having Jameis Winston as a second quarterback, pretty much just for that little bit of experience and maybe a bit of personality as well. But yeah, the Russell Wilson, I think it's put a bit of a downer on a lot of Giants fans, and I think every other fan in the NFL are laughing at the Giants at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Russ obviously had. From what has been reported, he had a meeting with the Cleveland Browns as well, and I'm sure potentially he had meetings with the Steelers, or we never know. Maybe the Steelers there wasn't an offer on the table for him to come back because obviously he only signed a 1-year deal and so did Justin Fields. So Justin Fields has landed on his feet really in New York. He was given a 2-year deal where Russ has landed with a lesser team per se, definitely a weaker roster, like you've just said, especially than the Jets. At least the Jets have got some decent pieces. They've got some cornerstones. Apart from Malik Neighbours, really, I know they've just signed former Dolphin safety Javon Holland. He's a really exciting safety. Didn't really kind of get to his potential down in Miami. So maybe, you never know, with a new kind of environment, he might absolutely thrive and become what we hoped down in Miami that he would, as one of the best safeties in the league. He's definitely been paid as one of the best safeties in the league. So there we are. That was Russell Wilson. The second bit of news, all of a sudden, they almost came in tandem, didn't they, Guto? The second one still kind of is a head scratcher for me. Not in terms of the move itself, but just in terms of the amount of money that was given to former Bills wide receiver and Texans wide receiver Stefon Diggs, who was signed a 3-year deal, I believe, with the New England Patriots.
Yep, a 3-year, $69 million deal for a wide receiver who is, he's in his early 30s now, I believe. I think he's 30 or he's 31 years of age. The move itself to the Patriots doesn't surprise me. I think we mentioned a few podcasts ago, we were going through the list of free agency at the time before free agency actually hit, and I think one of us mentioned that we can see Stefon Diggs going to the Patriots. So the move itself doesn't shock me as much. I think it does suit him. However, the amount he's been getting paid, considering he's a little bit of an injury-prone player, it baffles me a little bit. So, but like I said, they are number 4 in the draft. I always thought they'd be going for a wide receiver. I don't think, me personally, I don't think Stefon Diggs is the final piece of the puzzle. He's been added to a room, Demario Douglas, Keishon Boutte, Javon Baker, but I think Jalen Polk as well. But they'll definitely be adding to, in my opinion, if I was doing a mock draft now, I'd be putting a wide receiver in the Patriots right there. You're looking at McMillan, probably one of the top wide receivers in the draft. I think they'll still go for a top wide receiver and have that room with Stefon Diggs and McMillan, and give Drake May some extra weapons, 100%.
Yeah. The only thing else that I'll add on to that, in terms of the Patriots taking wide receiver in round 1, they don't have history of taking offensive players in round 1. They usually kind of stack up on defense first, but they paid a lot of their defense, and they've really targeted defense in free agency as well. Milton Williams was one of them, given a massive contract. and they re-signed Kyle Duggar as well. Yeah, obviously Stefon Diggs is a hard one to figure out. He's clearly been paid as a wide receiver one. Whether he has the skills left in the tank per se to be a wide receiver one, like you said, he's coming off a season-ending injury. I believe it was a torn ACL halfway through the season with the Texans, or it was an Achilles. I can't really remember, and that'll just decide whether he'll be available for the beginning of the season. If it was an Achilles, that's a 12-month period rehab. An ACL, you could potentially come back in 9 months. So, like I said, he's paid as a wide receiver one. Whether he's got that out and out speed like he did in his prime with the Vikings and the Bills a couple of years ago is another question. Obviously, the other kind of a little bit of a red flag with Stefon Diggs is the way that things ended in Buffalo as well. Whether he was trying to make it obvious that he wanted to trade away from Buffalo, or Buffalo had just kind of had enough with his antics because apparently he wasn't happy with the scheme change when Joe Brady came in as OC, and apparently that's all we were hearing outside the media was Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs were literally BFFs, and then all of a sudden they weren't even talking to each other. You could see rifts going on off on the sideline as well. So he's obviously as you can tell, he's a massive character. He's not a typical kind of character that would go to the Patriots, if I'm honest with you. And like you said, Guto, I completely agree that this is a small piece of the jigsaw that they need to slowly kind of rebuild on that offense. But yeah, it'll be interesting. My main worry is that are we going to see the Stefon Diggs of maybe 2 or 3 years ago, like I said, when he was in his prime with the Bills, where he was tearing up the AFC? And it's going to be quite interesting as well, because obviously he's going to be playing Buffalo twice a year now because he's back in the AFC East.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he joined the Texans, I believe, for a season or two, didn't he? So
yeah,
obviously he got hurt, unfortunately. So, but I think the landing spot for Stefon Diggs is a decent enough landing spot for him. That is a rebuilding team for the Patriots. I was just looking at their schedule for next season. They've got some decent home games, but traveling away, there'll be a couple of tasks for them. They're going to be against obviously the Dolphins. They've got the Falcons as well. They've got the Raiders at home as well. So, I can see where the Patriots are trying to add some more weapons. I think the Patriots will be the team to watch this season. I think even if they do end up getting a few wins in the first 10 or so games, they'll definitely be a team to look out for. So. But having Stefon Diggs in the team, it's a lot of money for an injury-prone player, and they must have a long-term plan with him for 3 years. But I'm actually very excited to see how it ends up with him and what they're going to do in the draft as well. Like you said, they don't usually go for offensive players, but I can't see them skipping up on a wide receiver in the draft. Maybe a couple of other offensive players as well down the line.
Yeah. I can't really tell at the moment if the Patriots, like you said, are going to be a team to watch or not in the AFC East this year. I'm not sure if it's maybe a season or two too early for them. I think they're going to be a problem. I think they are going to take some games off, like you said, the Dolphins, maybe not the Bills, and I don't know. It's hard to know what level the Jets are going to be next year because they're going to be a completely different team with a new quarterback as well. So yeah. Like you said, not surprising to see that the Patriots have targeted a wide receiver. Another thing that we have to kind of consider as well is maybe that was only Stefon Diggs' option. The amount of money maybe tells me not, because potentially there might have been a bidding war for him. I doubt if there was another team out there that would have offered a 3-year deal like the Patriots have. But they've got so much cap space that they have to spend it somehow, unless they want to carry it over to next season. But they've still got a lot of holes to fill, especially on the offensive side of the ball, I think.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it as well. Obviously, I think they were the top cap space on the list. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting what the long term plan is with him. I think that, like you said, I think the Patriots will cause a bit of trouble during the season coming up. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to seeing who else joins them, especially during the draft. I'm looking forward to seeing McMillan being drafted. I've seen a couple of clips of him. He looks electric. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Me being a Falcons fan, talking positively about the Patriots isn't something we normally do, considering what happened a few years ago. But yeah, no, I think if you're a Patriots fan, it's a bit of an exciting time, and they've still got quite a bit of money left to spend everywhere. So the more weapons they add, I think the better suited they'll be.
Yeah, kind of like you feel like, especially now that they've got Vrabel, and obviously they've got McDaniels back as their offensive coordinator. It feels like they've kind of rebuilt their pillars after a really shaky kind of couple of years at the end of the Belichick era, and especially with Gerard Mayo being a one and done as well,
Yeah,
which is something extremely out of the ordinary for a franchise like the Patriots, who Belichick was there for he was there for almost 20 years, or maybe more than 20 years. And I could see Vrabel being there for a long time as well. He's proved himself with the Titans. He's there for the long haul, and
yeah,
he is the perfect fit for the Patriots. He even made it obvious because he's a former Patriot himself. He was being honoured last season in one of the games, and he kind of made it very, very obvious that he would welcome with open arms the chance of being their coach. And obviously they didn't hesitate, and there was only one fit for that. So yeah, they're definitely going to be a problem. They're definitely not going to be an easy win in the tick column, a tick in the win column rather, like they've been over the last couple of seasons. Especially at home, they might not travel really well, but we'll kind of see. And I'm excited to see what Drake May is going to produce as well. He showed some promise at the end of last season. They've bolstered their O-line. Not sure if they're going to have a running game, and they're always going to have a defense, especially with Vrabel at the helm as well. And I think McDaniels is going to try and make the playbook as QB friendly potentially for Drake May over the next season, just to kind of get his confidence up. And he's only been starting for half a season, to be fair. So yeah, the Patriots are ones to, even though it pains me to say as well, Guto, because the Dolphins obviously have been in the shadow of the New England Patriots for the majority of the last 20, if not 25 years. So yeah, it's kind of worrying that I'm just kind of worried that have the Dolphins missed their window of opportunity. It just sucks because the Bills have been so well, and they've won the division over the last 4 or 5 years. So we used to have a Tom Brady problem. We now have a Josh Allen problem. So yeah,
you can never win. You can never win.
no,
Being
no,
a Dolphins fan,
no,
yeah, it's
yeah,
a tough situation to be in. But yeah, look out for the New England Patriots, I say.
yeah. So Guto, like I said, we're going to be ramping up some more draft talk and preparation
Yeah,
within the next couple of weeks. Next week, we have got a special episode coming to you. If you remember, if for those of you who watched our post Super Bowl pod, it seems ages ago now, Gito. I think it was back in the beginning of February, wasn't it?
yeah,
Johan is going to be joining us again, and he's going to be breaking down what's been going on with the Philadelphia Eagles over this free agency, because I think we've mentioned it before. They seem to be getting rid of half of their defense, and they haven't really been adding to their roster as well. However, we'll see what the state of the Eagles are with Johan very, very shortly, and we've got some more content coming for you. And like I said, if any more breaking news, like has happened this morning or last night in the US and in the world of the NFL, will break, we will definitely jump on and we will bring the news to you as soon as possible. Gito, anything else before we leave you?
I believe that's it. I'm looking forward to having you on back on next week.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to hear. I'm interested in hearing a Eagles fans' perspective. If they're worried about what's happening with the Eagles, or if they're, if it's panic mode, or if it's just stay calm sort of thing. Let's see what happens. But yeah, they just seem to be getting rid of everyone in their defense who was a major part of their Super Bowl win. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to having him back next week. It'll be interesting to hear his side, Eagles, perspective on everything. So, yeah, looking forward to it. And yeah, in the next few weeks, obviously building up to the draft. Obviously, watch out as well. We'll be doing our own kind of mock draft as well. We'll be getting that coming up soon in the next few weeks. So, but yeah, the off season's going down really, really fast. Obviously, like I said, the Super Bowl feels like months ago. To be honest with you, I know it was the start of February, so. But a lot is happening, during the off season. So we'll cover as much as we can. Any breaking news, I'll be posting it on my Twitter, X, and my Instagram page at NFL Cymru Pod. So please like and subscribe and give us a follow as well. So, but yeah, just a quick thank you to everyone for the support as well. It really means a lot to both me and Dyfed. Thank you.